you got here?
Well, this is my survival kit.
You have a survival kit on this little table right here.
I sure do. And I call it my 1 gallon survival kit. And it's the reason I call it that is because it weighs 6 pounds, which is 1 gallon of avgas. And I tried to get the best kit you could get for something under 6 pounds.
Now, why the 6 pounds?
Well, I figured a lot of kits on the market are about 30 pounds, which is about 5 gallons of gas. So if you translate into a Cessna 182 or a Cessna 172,
or in this case, light sport,
or light sport, that's almost a half an hour. And for some light sport airplanes, that's a whole hour worth of fuel. So throwing an hour's worth of gas off to have a survival kit doesn't make any sense. So what I decided was, as a pilot myself, I thought it would be best to get something as light as possible, but to have all the components necessary for survival. So I went with 1 gallon of fuel, because I figured you can sacrifice that.
Okay, so we have a survival kit here. How does it all come together, or what does it all include?
Well, the first element of survival after first aid, which is something I'll cover here in a second, is shelter. And what I've got here is a bothy bag. And a bothy bag is essentially a tent with no poles, and it's the structure is actually provided by the people that are sitting in it. If you come over here, this is one that's deployed. This is a 2-man. So essentially, if you think of one person sitting here, one person, and they're facing each other, sitting inside the shelter, it's instantly deployable. So they pull it out of the bag, stick it over the top of their head, and sit down on these black patches, which are waterproof and abrasion-resistant types of fabric. And the whole concept here is to block wind and to block moisture, and it takes advantage of the body heat that's generated from the individuals inside of it to take away from any sort of survival situation where you start to get hypothermic or that kind of thing. So that's the first component. And then after that is this, what I call it's called the Blizzard Survival Bag. And the Blizzard Survival Bag it's a mylar, somewhat like a space blanket, but the difference between this and a space blanket is that it's multiple layered, and it has air channels inside that trap air, somewhat like a sleeping bag or like a down sleeping bag would. And so, combined with the bothy, the Blizzard bag is a really good shelter for anybody who's in an immediate need situation. You just cut the bag open, you're inside the bothy, you climb into the Blizzard bag, and you've got protection from the elements immediately. So you don't have to build a shelter, you don't have to try to find shelter, you've got it right there in the bag. So we have the shelter, we've got the bag. I'll start over here. This is a snow claw shovel, and it weighs about 6 ounces, but with 2 hands, this shovel works really well in soft snow, or you can turn it over and use the narrow area for the harder snow, and it actually works really well like in ice and stuff like that. You can also use it as a seat, or you can set camp gear down on it, or put your stuff down on when you're trying to sort things around. And I've used it also to dig fire pits. So it's a multiple use item. One other thing too is if you have a break in a leg or an arm, is you can use it as a splint. So you just tie it up and you can actually use it as a splint. So that's multiple use piece that I thought was pretty necessary for this. Coming across, got gloves. So if you do get to the point where you're actually making a fire, you can use the gloves and avoid getting yourself splinters or burning yourself, things like that. And inside the gloves, I've got some Paramedic Shears. And Paramedic Shears are really good because it allows you to cut fabric or thicker materials like a belt, and you can then make dressings for any wounds or anything that you might encounter out there. And then, let's see here, we'll go across. We've got this, it's called a pocket saw. It's actually a chainsaw that fits in this little bag here when you fold it up. It's about 3 ounces, and I've been using this quite a bit for the last couple of months myself. And you can cut really good sized diameter wood, and you can cut overhand, you can cut underhand, and it's way better than a wire saw, much more robust, but gives you the ability to give yourself some wood for overnight in case you do want to go ahead and build a fire. Speaking of fire, I include the striker. It's a ferrocerium rod, and it comes with this little thing. It looks like a saw blade you'd find, like a hacksaw blade. And you just strike it on there, and it gives you a nice hot spark. And what you use that on is another thing that's included. Is I've got a couple of, I do actually include a space blanket for reflecting. In case you do build a fire, you can reflect heat back off the fire with that. They're really not effective for actual survival. If that was all you had, it would be, you would be pushing the limits a little bit. But with the kit, I have these, they're called plastic matchboxes. But inside, what I do is include, it's Vaseline coated cotton. And you take that out, and it's just a cotton ball, and you can use your striker and it'll light right away, and it'll actually burn for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. So it's very good tinder. And so then that gives you kind of a good long burning fire source. But before you get to that point, we have what's called the jet boil stove. And this is for an immediate need for warmth and to provide just a little bit of comfort as well, because when you're out in the backcountry or in a survival situation, having an immediate source of heat is a necessity. So with the jet boil stove, you have an actual piezoelectric igniter right here, and your valve. So you light it, and you can probably see the heat coming off of that. It's quick light, easy to use, and you don't need matches, you don't need anything. It's just self-contained and right there. And the neat thing about this stove is it actually completely packs away inside the canister. Now this is actually a French press for coffee. So I make a lot of coffee on my stove. So that actually is an accessory that you can get if you want. But it all fits right inside the cooking cup. And it has this sleeve on it so you don't get burned. And on the sleeve is a heat indicator, and it turns bright yellow when it reaches about 170 degrees. So 170 degrees is hot enough to pasteurize the water, so you don't have to take it all the way to boiling. It's still drinkable even if you don't boil it, if you really want to conserve fuel. And the fuel canisters, if you get a 100-gram fuel canister, it'll actually fit inside the stove, so it'll all fit inside there, which is pretty nice for compactness. I haven't covered this yet, I don't think. So let's go ahead and cover the first aid. This little kit, comes in a nylon case, and it has bandages, and it's got some ibuprofen, and it's got some aspirin, non-aspirin painkiller. But what's really nice is it's got some tweezers, and tweezers are really important in the backcountry. In fact, if you look at a lot of the first aid requirements, the ability to make bandages out of clothing and to remove small pieces of glass or stickers or whatever with tweezers is very important. And it comes with butterfly bandages for fixing lacerations and those kinds of things. Another really lightweight. And then a survival sewing and repair kit, which is a multi-use item as well, because it comes with a nice little Fresnel lens. So if you want to make a fire using a Fresnel lens, you can do that. I wouldn't really want to have to resort to that if I didn't have to, but it does come with duct tape. It has a bit of Kevlar thread, and let's see, this is pretty nice. It's got some safety pins, and it's got some needles and a thimble. So you got your basics there for some fabric repair if you need it. One last thing for the kit is this knife. And it looks kind of simple and plain, but what's really neat about this is it's a bushcraft knife. And it's a carbon steel blade. It's a laminated, triple laminated, handmade in Norway. And what it has is a single beveled edge. You can kind of see the bevel there. And it's got the single bevel, which means you can really sharpen it easily on a sharpening stone. You don't have to worry about compound bevels. And one of the great things about carbon steel is, although it will rust, you can get a spark out of it, which you can't do with stainless. And on the backside here, you can strike it with either quartz or flint and get a spark out of it if you know what you're doing. You can also use it as to split wood. You get a piece of wood that's shorter than the length of the blade there, and you hit it with another piece of wood, baton it, it's called, split the wood and make little pieces of tinder if you need to, or a tinder stick. Carbon steel holds its edge way better than stainless. It gets sharper than stainless, and it's easier to sharpen than stainless. So this is a really high quality, it's called a Hella Viking. It's based on a design that was found in a Viking tomb. So, and I've used this knife myself quite a bit, and it's a really good knife. We'll move on to the backpack here. This backpack is a nice little nylon backpack. It weighs 7 ounces, 7.5 ounces. It has a whistle integrated into the clip, and I've also included an e-gear flashlight. It's waterproof to 300 feet. You can actually drive over it with a car. I've seen, if you look them up on YouTube, they drive over them with cars. And what you can do is, it's got a battery that will last 90 hours in the solid mode, and it's got a flash mode too. If you flip the battery over, it'll last 250 hours in flash. And there's hardly any flashlight that I found that can last that long on such a small battery and with such a small compact package. So I put that on the backpack, and it's really nice is it's got a clip, so you can clip it to other areas of the backpack or other areas of your body if you need to. And with that much light, it will definitely outlast the typical 72-hour survival situation. So I think that's a very important addition, especially for the mental aspect. To top it off, I also have a jet scream and a star flash mirror. So the jet scream whistle puts out about 120 decibels, and it's super, super loud. And if you're yelling for help for any length of time, you're going to lose your voice. So having a whistle is a very, very good thing to do. You obviously have a backup with the backpack, but this whistle outdoes that, hands down. And then you have a retroreflective mirror with instructions on the back on how to use it, and the little hole in the middle to help you aim, which is, it's super bright. Let's see. There we go. And that pretty much tops off the kit right there. All right, what I've got is my backpack here, and we're gonna stuff this whole kit into the backpack. So start off with the bothy bag. It just goes in there. Got your 2 sleeping bags, so this is a 2-man kit. Got your gloves with the Paramedic Shears inside. First aid kit, and then the various other items that I pointed out. Got our stove and our fuel. Then with the zip, it's got Velcro closure on the top. And then these little clips here are real handy because you just take the snow claw. All right, well, as you can see, it's pretty compact. The whole pack weighs about 6 pounds for 2 people. We can add about 1 pound and 10 ounces if you want to go for 4 people. You add 2 more sleeping bags and you're set to go. One thing I forgot to mention that's included with this are the Rollens sunglasses that have 100% UV protection. In case you are missing eye protection, it's very important to have, especially in a snowy environment. And that comes with 2 pairs of those. But if you'd like to find out more, you can visit my website at onegallonsurvival, all one word, .blogspot.com.
Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, thank you.